everyone. Welcome back to another episode of No Space, No Time World. My name is Cyrielle. I'm here on the Conscious Consumer Network every Wednesday evening to take you through a meditation and to give out a healing transmission. If we have a guest, it will be a guest sharing about his or her first-hand experiences of anomalies or glitches in the matrix to show us things that are outside this kind of 3D world that we're programmed to believe is real. And there are many incidences, but lots of people don't seem to be, they don't want to come forward and share. I mean, a lot of people I've spoken to have had these experiences, but they say, oh, no, it would only take up a couple of minutes to share about. I don't know what it is. It could be fear of what people will think of them, or fear of being different. But the thing is, you speak to so many people who have these experiences that it's actually normal. So do come out with your experiences, because this is a safe place to share. Okay. And email in at my email address on the screen to share these experiences. I can just read them out on the show if you wish me to. That's not a problem, and I don't need to mention your name. I can just describe what happened to you as per your email. If you want to come on the show, you're most welcome to do that. But do let me know, and also send in any specific requests you have for healings. But they have to be ones that we can address as a group rather than like one individual. Let me know also what happens if you have any kind of experiences from our weekly healing transmissions. I understand, I mean, I've heard people who I know personally, have texted me and said, shared their experiences from the healing transmissions. But it would be nice to hear from people I don't know about your experiences from the healing transmissions. Okay, so next thing is, I do want to let you all know right now that this show is not live. So if you do have any questions you want to ask me, please don't use the chat function, because I won't be able to reply to you because I won't be there. I've had to pre-record this show, as while you're watching the show right now, I'm currently out of the country. And the time difference where I am in the world has made it a little bit too late to do the show live. And not knowing in advance what my schedule is going to be, what I'll actually be doing at the time of the show, made it a far safer option to pre-record. So I apologize to you. Yeah. Email me questions. Don't use the chat function, but I will be back very soon. And if there have been any interesting new things on your experiences to share with you, I shall share them on next week's show. Because I'm sure there's going to be a few things, because things are already flooding in here and there. Okay, it's exciting times. Okay, so now let's get into our weekly Awaken the spark within meditation. Time to chill. Okay, so relax. Get into a comfortable position. Take off your shoes if possible. Sit, lay down, whichever you can do, whichever is the easiest for you. Close your eyes. Clear your mind. Be at peace. Now focus on the point approximately 2 to 3 fingers width below your navel. Staying at the level of this point, shift your focus to right inside your body. Go right inside. Any participating extraterrestrials, please focus on your own center within and go right in there. You are now all in your core, the core of your body, the core of your entire energy field. Breathe deep, slowly and deep. Breathe in the pure light of spirit and exhale this pure light into your core. Fill this core space. Fill this space with pure, loving light with every out-breath. Feel it spread out, revitalizing and rejuvenating your core. Keep breathing, saturating your core with spirit. As this pure, loving light spreads, it reveals a door. This is the lower door of your core, door number 1. Please now walk towards this door and with thanks and gratitude and a smile from your heart center, open the door and step through. You are now in the lower chamber of your core. Breathe deeply. Breathe deeply, slowly and deeply. Breathe in the pure light of spirit and exhale this pure light into the lower chamber of your core, filling it completely. Filling it completely with pure loving light. Keep breathing, and with every exhalation, feel this pure light spread and spread. Feel it revitalizing and rejuvenating your lower chamber, clearing away all stuck energy, clearing away all heavy and dense energy. Feel it revitalizing your physical form. Keep breathing. every exhalation, more of this dense, stuck and heavy energy is cleared, more and more. Notice that you begin to feel brighter and more alive as your form is revitalized. Now this pure loving light has saturated your lower chamber. Another door is revealed. This is the middle door, door number 2. Please walk towards this door. And with thanks and gratitude and a smile from your heart center, open this door and step through. You are now in the middle chamber of your core, the chamber of the heart. Breathe deeply, slowly and deeply. Keep breathing. With every out breath, gradually fill this chamber with love. Breathe in the pure, loving light of spirit and exhale this pure light into the middle chamber of your core, filling it completely. Filling it completely with pure love. Keep breathing. With every exhalation, feel this love spread. Feel this light and love spread. Feel it revitalize your middle chamber. Feel it revitalize every particle. Feel it clear away all stuck energies, all dense energies, all heavy energies. Feel it clear away all energies that are not of love. And let them dissolve so that they cannot return. Keep breathing. With every exhalation, more stuck, dense, heavy and unloving energy is cleared. Let it go. Keep breathing until the only energy that can exist in this chamber is the energy of love. Saturate your heart chamber with love unconditional. Keep breathing. As love takes over, another door is revealed. This is the upper door, door number 3. Please walk towards this door. And with thanks and gratitude and a smile from your heart center, open the door step through. You are now in the upper chamber of your core. This is your core connection to spirit and the spiritual realms. Breathe deeply. Breathe slowly and deeply. Breathe in this pure, sparkling, bright light of spirit. And exhale this pure light directly into the upper chamber of your core, filling it completely with pure, loving, bright, sparkling light. Keep breathing. With every exhalation, feel this wonderful light spread. Feel it revitalize your upper chamber. Feel it clearing away all stuck energy, all dense energy. Feel it clear away all blocks to higher dimensions, opening and strengthening your connection to spirit. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. Feel this pure light of spirit spread and spread until your upper chamber is completely full, and until there's nothing else in your upper chamber but this pure, sparkling, bright, loving light of spirit. Feel it. Breathe it in, within and without. Allow it to spread throughout your physical form, into every cell, into your DNA, into your RNA, all your nucleobases, and into every other part of you. Every particle, physical, etheric, all systems, all chakras, all nadis, all meridians. Let it spread throughout your fields, right out, saturating every part of you. Feel it spread. Feel it transmuting all denseness. Feel it transmuting all and clearing away all stuckness. And feel it removing all blocks to all that you are and to all that is. Feel it. Own it. Be it. And now all of you and all your systems and fields, plus all 3 chambers of your core, are filled completely with the pure, loving, bright, gentle and powerful light of spirit. And pause in this pure light. Feel the peace. Bathe it. Now take an even deeper breath. Exhale strongly now, expanding this pure, loving, bright light of spirit, exploding it further and further and further, dimension to dimension, across all realities and parallels, across all incarnations, further and further and further until you experience a sudden stillness. You're at source. You have reached source. And feel this stillness. Feel the peace. Feel the love. Mm-hmm. Feel the purity. Bathe in this exquisite energy and give thanks for all that you are and for all that is. Remain in this state and remember how this feels. Get used to it. Remember this stillness. Remember this peace. Remember this purity. Remember this unconditional love. Remember so that you can return to this blissful state at will. At any time you wish to return to and give thanks. And now when you're ready, please slowly and gently open your eyes, gently returning to this reality whilst keeping your strong connection to Source. Thank you. And talking of this reality, I'm finding it hard this morning to remain in this reality. I keep shifting and zoning in and out. That often happens when something big is coming through. So please excuse me if I just suddenly stop speaking mid-sentence and just go silent for whatever reason. I'm in a very interesting kind of space this morning. I'm just out there. Okay. So as you slowly come back to the space we're in, I will share about this week's Blueprint Healing Transmission. Last week, we worked on the Earth Element Blueprint Unit, and this week we are addressing the Water Element Blueprint Unit. So we are continuing around the natural flow of the 5 elements chart. It felt to me that this would be the best way to do the units, just to follow the natural progression and to flow with that each week. So the Water Element Blueprint Unit consists of another pair of meridians, the Lung Meridian, which is in the Yin cycle, and the large intestine meridian, which is yang. Okay, so these are the two meridians that we'll be releasing negative emotions, patterning and states from this evening. And as I have said before, the emotions and states and beliefs, the qualities of these meridians associated with the water unit, along with the positive qualities that we're going to be infusing and activating, are all adapted from the Melbourne Applied Physiology Kinesiology Working with Emotions workshop. I have no idea who taught that workshop, but that's the workshop it was from. And these actually come from the Touch for Health Emotions list, which was from a list made by a woman called Margaret Murray. And that was a presentation in USA in 1989 at a Touch for Health conference. So as usual, I have adapted the quality, states and emotions related to the two meridians we're working with in order to release the negative patterning and infuse the positive qualities for our transmission this evening. By the way, the yin-yang aspect of things is vital to keep balanced. When I really realized just how vital that was when I was writing one of my manuals, when I was writing the Divine Healing Manual for the Human Blueprint. And I was writing a chapter and a protocol on chromosomes because there's a specific protocol to follow. In energetic kinesiology as well, I did that for clearing certain things from chromosomes, which was also very much linked to certain units and coordinates of the human blueprint. And I suddenly realized why chromosomes are in pairs. And chromosomes are in pairs because one is the yin aspect and the other is the yang aspect. So I realized that you can have a chromosome that's out of balance, but it goes deeper than that. It could be the yin aspect of that chromosome that's out of balance, or it could be the yang aspect of that chromosome. So now whenever I'm working with chromosomes, I check for which aspect of the chromosome is out of balance. Sometimes it's actually both, but often it's just maybe the yin aspect or the yang aspect. And along with that go a whole list of yin aspect emotions and yang aspect emotions. And that's from Almira Ariel Haller, who teaches Divine Healing. And she kindly allowed me to use her list of yin and yang excess emotion. It's like yin, you can have an excess yin or an excess yang, and also the other way. It's like in Chinese 5 elements, you can have over energies and under energies. You have too much or not enough. So she allowed me to use her list, and which I put into the manual. So these are really going really deeply, and it's a very important part to look into. And this does clear a lot of things and clears them really deeply. Okay, so for those of you who have previously participated in our healing transmission, and for new viewers, I will explain to you now that during the transmission, I will be going silent on and off. This is different silent to me zoning out, as I just described. This is a silence to pause and allow for things to shift when we're releasing and when we're infusing and activating. It's to allow the things to infuse and activate. And now, like I've said before, regular viewers, you know, but just reminding you, you'll all be making your shifts at different speeds. Every one of us is different. Some of us shift slowly, some quickly. There's no right or wrong about how fast or slow you shift. And it doesn't make anyone any better than anyone else. Hang on, I have to send a text here. Sorry. Okay. So we all have different issues. In certain contexts, we may shift quickly, and in others, we may shift slowly. It just depends. Because sometimes an issue will be very close and resonate very deeply, and we might have a lot of things to clear from that. And in that case, it might take a lot of shifting. So it will be a slow shift. Sometimes it's a sudden realization and it will just blow. But like I said, it doesn't make anyone any better than anyone else, whether you shift slowly or quickly. And there may be statements that you don't really resonate with at all. Sometimes there are things that are in past incarnations that are just so deep we don't even realize, we're not conscious of in this incarnation. So don't worry if they don't resonate with you. They might not be an issue at all, but the energy is there. It's all part of the energy of that element, in this case the water element tonight. And some you may resonate very deeply with, but whichever way, it doesn't matter. Don't stress, it's all fine. Your job is to just be and chill, no stress, no worries, just let it happen. And don't feel that you need to catch up and rush. If you don't feel you're lagging behind, everything will happen at the right time. You just have to trust. Yeah, that can be a very hard thing to do, but just trust. And as you do learn to trust, not just in this, in anything, when you learn to trust, you'll find that things go a lot smoother. It's hard to get to that point, but it's possible. So if you feel you didn't make a shift before the next statement, don't worry about that either, because the shift can happen at any time. It can happen any time, minutes after that you've heard the statement. It really doesn't matter. It will happen. And don't worry, just just trust. I move on to the next statement when either it feels right, or when my team say next. I actually have a team that I can see in my internal screen, my mind's eye, whatever you want to call it, and going next. Okay, so your job is just to receive and trust in the flow, trust in spirit. All will come to you, and it will all come at the right time. So just receive. And as I've said before, so many of us are really good at giving, and we give and we give and we give. We're completely useless at receiving. There has to be a balance. So this is your time, and it's your time to receive. And if you're not used to receiving, time to learn to receive. It's actually pretty good. Okay. So get back into your comfortable position now, and we will begin. Take a deep breath and exhale slowly. Okay. Healing transmission team, please open and prepare a multi-dimensional space for a blueprint healing transmission. Teams, please clear and remove all dense energies from my space and from the space of each being receiving this healing transmission. Teams, please place the being you are working with in a protective sphere to shield this being from all outside interference. Stabilize and thank you. We command an immediate shift in no space, no time, now. I address all the guides, masters and teams of each being receiving this healing transmission to please come online now. Please be on standby, ready to assist the being you are working with. Please be ready to support the being you are working with. All masters and specialists for both human and extraterrestrial blueprints online now. Thank you. All teams ready to begin. Teams, please access the blueprint of the being you are working with. Thank you. All teams working with humans, please access and connect to the water element blueprint. All teams working with extraterrestrials, please access and connect to the species-related blueprint unit now. All teams working with all participating extraterrestrials, please adapt all commands regarding both the release of negative patterning and the infusion and activation of quality positive qualities as required to the equivalent required statement relevant to the species of being you are working with, and please adapt any other commands not mentioned that need to be adapted to the species of being you are working with. Thank you. On all levels, on all layers, multidimensionally, ancestrally, for all incarnations across space and time, and for the highest and best good of all, we command the release from the water element blueprint unit or species-related equivalent and all associated selves, physical and etheric. We also request the optimal clearing that can be made at this time for each receiving being regarding all of the following statements. We command the release of all negative patterning, causing me to feel that no one can teach me anything. Command the release of all negative patterning, causing me depression, the release of all negative patterning, causing me indifference, the release of all negative patterning, causing me loneliness, the release of all negative patterning, causing me grief, the release of all negative patterning, causing me guilt, the release of all negative patterning, causing me pride, the release of all negative patterning, preventing me from having strong, healthy lungs, the release of all negative patterning, preventing me from having strong, healthy sinuses, the release of all negative patterning, preventing me from breathing deeply and efficiently, the release of all negative patterning, preventing me from having the air I take in nourish me, The release of all negative patterns, preventing me from efficiently purifying my blood. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from listening. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from hearing. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from respecting other people's opinions. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from learning the wisdom of others. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from being motivated the release of all negative patterning, preventing me from appreciating others. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from being able to establish close personal relationships. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from having favorable opinions of others. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from recognizing the value in others. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from accepting myself with all my shortcomings. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from enjoying being with people. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from being interested in people. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from being humble. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from being modest. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from being tolerant. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from being forgiven. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from appreciating what is given to me. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from seeing others' points of view. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from letting others know that I love and appreciate them. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from accepting others as they are. The release of all negative patterning causing me to hold on to obsessive guilt. The release of all negative patterning causing me to hold on to all I no longer need. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from releasing and letting go. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from having a strong, healthy, large intestine. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from having free and clear colon reflexes. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from being clean. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from eliminating waste efficiently from my body. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from being flexible. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from choosing foods that promote the efficiency and cleanliness of my colon. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from reading fluently. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from being free to learn. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from expressing myself freely. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from recalling learned information at will. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from spelling accurately. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from writing freely and beautifully. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from having a clear, sharp mind. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from joyfully releasing the past. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from making space for beneficial new experience. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from letting go of control. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from being forgiven. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from being free. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from being at peace. The release of all negative patterning, preventing me from releasing poverty and preventing me from welcoming abundance. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from cooperating. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from having relationships that are open and free. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from releasing others to take care of themselves. The release of all negative patterning preventing me from communicating with kindness. We give great thanks for the graceful release of all this negative pattern. We give great thanks for the graceful release of all this negative patterning from the water element blueprint unit, all species related equivalent, and from all associated selves, physical and etheric. Thank you. And now on all levels and layers, multidimensional, ancestral, for all incarnations across space and time, and for the highest and best good of all, we command the infusion and activation of all the positive, following positive qualities into the water element blueprint unit, or species related equivalent, and into all associated cells, physical and etheric. We command the infusion and activation of I am humble before the wonder and beauty of spirit and the universe. The infusion and activation of oneness, forgiveness, and joy. The infusion and activation of strong, healthy lungs. The infusion and activation of strong, healthy sinuses. The infusion and activation of deep, efficient breathing. The infusion and activation of having the air I breathe in nourish me. The infusion and activation of the efficient purification of my blood the infusion and activation of listening, the infusion and activation of hearing, the infusion and activation of respecting other people's opinions, the infusion and activation of learning from the wisdom of others, the infusion and activation of being motivated, the infusion and activation of the appreciation of others, the infusion and activation of having favorable opinions of others, the infusion and activation of the recognition of the value in others, the infusion and activation of accepting myself with all my shortcomings, the infusion and activation of the enjoyment of being with people, the infusion and activation of being interested in people, the infusion and activation of being humble, the infusion and activation of modesty, the infusion and activation of being tolerant, the infusion and activation of I am forgiven, the infusion and activation of sharing generously with others as I have the ability, the infusion and activation of the appreciation of what is given to me, the infusion of and activation of being able to see others' points of view. The infusion and activation of letting others know that I love and appreciate them. The infusion and activation of accepting others as they are. The infusion and activation of joyfully releasing the past, making way for beneficial change. The infusion and activation of releasing and letting go. The infusion and activation of a strong, healthy, large intestine. The infusion and activation of having free and clear colon reflexes. The infusion and activation of cleanliness. The infusion and activation of the efficient elimination of waste from my body. The infusion and activation of choosing foods that promote the efficiency and cleanliness of my colon. The infusion and activation of fluent reading. The infusion and activation of the freedom to learn. I am free to learn. The infusion and activation of the ability to express myself freely. The infusion and activation of the ability to recall learned information at will. the infusion and activation of accurate spelling, the infusion and activation of the ability to write freely and beautifully and expressively. The infusion and activation of a clear, sharp mind. The infusion and activation of the joyful release of the past. The infusion and activation of making space for new beneficial experiences. The infusion and activation of letting go of control. The infusion and activation of being forgiven. And I forgive myself. The infusion and activation of being free. The infusion and activation of being at peace. The infusion and activation of the release of all poverty and the welcoming in of abundance. The infusion and activation of cooperation. The infusion and activation of having relationships that are open and free. The infusion and activation of releasing others to take care of themselves. The infusion and activation of the ability to communicate with kindness and love. And we give great thanks for the graceful infusion, activation and integration of all these positive qualities into the water element blueprint unit or species related equivalent, and into all associated cells, physical and etheric. We give great thanks to all the teams who assisted in this process, and we command the daily reinforcement with love, grace and ease of all positive qualities infused and activated into the water element blueprint unit or species related equivalent, and into all associated cells, physical and etheric, for this healing transmission. All teams, please repeat this infusion and activation process once a day for the next 2 days to allow for full, graceful and easy integration to take place. Thank you. We now command our return to the earth plane, fully present and intact on all levels, and we give great thanks for this gift of love. Okay, everyone, slowly open your eyes and come gently back to the space we're in. Have a good stretch. I hope you enjoyed that. And it just occurred to me, if you're wondering why, after the release of all negative patterning, why don't we just release that? Why do we infuse the positive qualities? It's because of balance. We can't just release all negative stuff and just release it and that's it. You need to replace the negative with the positive. Another instance is removing entities from people. They are normally connected to a negative emotion. So you remove the entity, you remove the negative emotion. But if you don't clear the negative emotion and replace it with a positive, and if you don't seal up the whole energetic hole that the entity was present in, it's most likely that this will return. But if you seal up that area and infuse it with the positives, then it can't return. And we also have to clear the energetic, the emotion, the negative emotion that that person has in their fields, emotional body, wherever, chakras, wherever. You have to deal with that. Otherwise, that person will keep attracting those negative things into their life and will be unable to bring in the positive things that they need. So there's ways that we can do that through something called deep survival switching and clearing all of the deep survival switching and issues around why that person was having that negative self-belief or negative emotional state. So you release the negative and replace it with a positive. And then there is balance. And that is why we release the negative patterning and then replace it with all the positive qualities. Otherwise you'd be like kind of empty. Yeah. So that just, I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before. I don't think I have. I just thought I'd mention it now. Okay, so I thank you all for participating. Thank you all for participating. I apologize for being kind of way off somewhere, who knows where, zoning in and out, but I know it's because something is coming through. And I will see you all next week, live. Okay, so please email in if you want me to read out any experiences or want to be on the show. And I wish you all a wonderful good night and see you next week. Bye.
Humanity has been on an epic journey of discovery, learning the truth about the world we live in. New discoveries about the true origins of humanity, ancient history, free energy, as well as the systematic corruption of world governments are now on the forefront of our daily reality. Is the world headed towards destruction based on control and power? Or is an opportunity now being presented to shift and uplift into a higher consciousness? My name is Mel V, co-founder and creative director of Conscious Consumer Network, an independent broadcast network that was launched on the 1st of January 2015. In the last 3 years, Conscious Consumer Network has broadcast over 2,800 shows in multiple languages, featuring guests from across the world, whilst creating media that is aimed at the creation of a free, fair, peaceful, just, sustainable world. Conscious Consumer Network provides full training and an interactive support network for all broadcasters, and we are always looking for inspiring and educational content.
Hi, this is Lady Liberty.
And this is Miro Siegel.
In 2018, Conscious Consumer Network has expanded to multiple broadcast locations, increasing our availability and reach across the world, remaining on the cutting edge of independent media. If we wish to create a better world, we must first create better media, geared towards real education instead of indoctrination. You guys really are what changing the world is going to be about. It's educating kids at a grassroots level. Having become a pillar of stability in the turbulent world of independent media, we have even more going on in 2018. Conscious Consumer Network is a publicly funded network, and we rely on all of you to keep us on the air. Show your support for independent media by donating to our 2018 Network Support Fund. Dare to seek a better world. Support independent media.